Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFLTV. It is Sunday at 24 minutes past 7. We should make this a regular thing, shouldn't we, on a Sunday, Gareth?
Well, not really, because I don't really want to do it with you every Sunday evening, but you hassle the crap out of me, and I pull the bones out, and I think, oh, well, I'll do it. So you've date stamped it now. Listen, if I'm available and I've got enough energy, I will, but Sunday tends to be a late start, because it's always a late night finish, whether I'm doing a radio show or at a fight or staying up watching fights. Tend to have a little rest on Sunday morning and then go for a big bike ride or a big paddleboard or a big exercise, cook a nice meal, and then just settle in and make my notes for the week. And, you know, listen, you're an old friend. I've got full respect for what you've achieved and accomplished. I watch some of your videos in the week. We seem to be chatting every Sunday night at the moment, if not Monday morning. And, well, long may it continue. How about that?
How about that? How about that? Okay, yeah, let's just kind of just run through some of the highlights from last night. We have a new British champion in Reece Bellotti, who dethroned Liam Dillon. We also saw quite a stunning win from Hamza Shiraz, defeating Liam Williams last night. So, yeah, they were the kind of major talking points from yesterday.
Yeah, Reece Bellotti's a great character. Obviously, he's worked as an electrician on lots of movies, hasn't he? Bond movies and stuff. He's a fascinating character. Good for him. He's got there at last. Hamza Shiraz was spectacular. He revealed to me last night, by the way, Hamza, that he's left-handed. And I found out because his dad, Cameron Shiraz, you know his dad, obviously, yeah? Well, his dad was a quick bowler for Gloucestershire in the early 90s. And he got Brian Lara out and 6 of the West Indies team one day when they were touring. I think he got 6 for 70 or something, literally bowled the West Indies out. Lara being one of the scalps. And obviously, if people don't follow cricket, Brian Lara is one of the greatest batsmen of all time. Famously, I think Brian Lara's got a 400, hasn't he? I think he scored 400 in one game. But when I was speaking to Hamza, it was just after the victory against Liam Williams. He said, I'm a left arm quick bowler. I said, yeah, but you're an orthodox boxer. So you actually left-handed? And he said, yeah. And Frank Warren last night was talking about how powerful Hamza's jab is. And of course, Hamza's jab is his left hand and it's his strong hand. So I've learned a little thing about him last night. I thought the respect value that he had for Liam Williams afterwards was extraordinary. Such a powerful puncher. He caught Liam Williams at the right time. Obviously, Gary Lockett, in you know, an old stalwart of the game and a former boxer himself, knew it was right to pull Liam Williams out. He looked very hurt in there in that first round, and Hamza Shiraz marches on. It's the Commonwealth title, wasn't it? And the WBC silver, I think it was. So I think, you know, there's an easy fight to make there with Nathan Heaney, who's the British champion. Hamza Shiraz was calling out Chris Eubank Jr. There's some great fights for him, and he does look so powerful. 6'3". He's becoming more rounded with his attacks. He used to be kind of very rock'em sock'em robot, didn't he? In very straight lines. And I spoke to him about this a while ago, actually. And it's something he's working on in his game. So fascinating character, great guy. And I think onwards and upwards for him. It was a great night for him. Glad to see Craig Richards get back in the win column. I think it was the 7th. No, it was Anthony. Was it Anthony Yarde got a 7th round stoppage?
Richards got a 7th round stoppage.
Yeah, Richards against Crichton, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a 7th round stoppage for him. Anthony Yarde back and victorious. That was great to see. Loved, again, Joshua BUATSI ringside with him. Great respect between the two men. That fight looks like it's going to be on. Great to see them together. Loved the way they were together. Business. These guys, this group of light heavyweights we've got in the UK, none of them's really a trash talker. And I love the way they are with each other. And Yarde and BUATSI really look like they're very, very keen to get it on, even though Eddie Hearn, who I interviewed yesterday, KUGAN, early in the afternoon, was hinting that Craig Richards might be the guy he puts forward if there's a light heavyweight division in the Hearn versus Warren stakes, Matchroom versus Queensbury. He seemed to be hinting at that last night, and then hinting at 9 people Conor Benn could face next. And it gets bigger. The list gets bigger by the day. Who was it today? It was Manny Pacquiao today. Did you see that?
Yes.
There are about their list of about 9 or 10 people, but what I'll say about Conor Benn, and I know that was a while ago now, and I'm digressing in a graph like this right now. Conor Benn made a lot of noise in Vegas, and he got the attention of a lot of big names. And even though he couldn't put Peter Dobbs and Pistol Pete away, he's very resonant at the moment. It was good to see photographs of Conor Benn. Here's all the news. Conor Benn bumping into Robert Smith yesterday. You know, Conor apologized to me recently for knocking the microphone out of my hand. And obviously I saw him at the gig that night I was emceeing for you at Indigo at the O2 Arena. And it's good to see that Conor's doing the rounds and getting back on side with people, because Eddie's also said that resolution on the appeal should be in the next fortnight. He was telling me that yesterday. What more do you need? Are we done?
Definitely not. Right, let's come back to Conor Benn. Obviously, Conor Benn in multiple interviews yesterday has said that the offer to tank Gervonta Davies is in the region of between $10 and $15 million. I mean, it seems very unrealistic that this fight will happen next for me, but I think Eddie Hearn has kind of put his money where his mouth is and actually has sent Team Tank, Team Davis, whatever, an offer to see, okay, we're serious, ball's in your court now.
Well, a Tank's still with PBC, yeah?
I think so, but
is he still being still being managed by Leonard Ellaby?
That part of it, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's complex now. Well, all I would say is
I'm not sure about that.
I spoke to Leonard Ellaby and Rolly Romero last week. Obviously, Rolly fights Pitbull Cruz, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, on March the 30th, the Saturday, the day before Fabio Wardley in America, the day before Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark fight, and Chris Congo and Florian Marku, 2 great fights, by the way. That's on Amazon. It's the first event on Amazon, isn't it? And Leonard is involved with that one. That's a PBC event. So I wonder whether, I know that Eddie's talking about DAZN, but I wonder whether that might be a dual cast with Amazon and DAZN, if that the way they're putting the money together with that. But DAZN may have come up with that amount of money to get Gervonta Davis into the fight with Conor Benn. It's an odd one because it's a lightweight, really a lightweight fighting a welterweight. It's a good fight for Conor Benn. It's a good fight for Gervonta Davis. Very high profile. Eddie's told me that fight would be in America, not the UK, by the way.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, it's a good fight for Conor Benn, but it's not a good fight in terms of the results. I still think Gervonta beats him. I think he outboxes him. I think it's competitive, but the advantages he has got are that he's 12 pounds heavier. But you know, let's be realistic about it. It's in terms of weight divisions for a reason. It's something of a mismatch. But as I say, I still favour Tank to win the fight. I think it's more like run down the list of names that have been mentioned for Conor at the moment. Manny Pacquiao today, Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney's called out. Again, he's a 140 fighter, but he could come up to welterweight.
Errol Spence.
Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Chris Eubank Jr., Kell Brook, Josh Kelly. They've kind of poo-pooed. Mario Barrios. That's 9. Who else is there? I mean, he just flung the doors open for the zombie hordes to come in. You know, it's like, I'll fight anyone, I'll knock all their heads off. But the great thing is he's tenacious and he's repairing damage. He's coming back from the brink. He says he wishes he'd handled things differently. Chris Congo as well said last night. I had Chris Congo with me in the studio at Talk Sports, and he said he'd love to fight Conor Benn. He said anytime. Chris isn't in that place yet, but if he makes noise against Florian Marku, then maybe he can. But you know, the Eddie's being accused of cashing out with Conor Benn, but the truth is he's got to make him big fights now. He's been out nearly 2 years, and everything's pointing to him. The appeal from the board and UKAD being lifted, so you know he looks like he might eventually be free to fight in the UK as well.
The suggestion is from Eddie Hearn is that with Chris Eubank Jr. that he's kind of done with trying to make that fight for the second, for the moment, shall we say. We saw Chris Eubank actually clip a piece of IFL's interview with Eddie Hearn from Vegas last week, and then attached it with the famous quotes from Jerry Maguire, the movie with Tom Cruise. But I mean, Eddie Hearn has said that, and speaking to Frank Smith the other day, that in their opinion, Eubank has overpriced himself out of that fight. That looks to be dead in the water for the moment. Any suggestions?
Yeah, but 5 days ago, Eddie was pushing that fight with Chris Eubank Jr. And you and I had that morning with Chris Eubank Sr. at the Mayfair Hotel in Mayfair in Soho. And we both had interviews with him that morning. We had a fantastic time with him. He was on top form. I don't know what anyone's on about. People say that, oh, Chris has lost his mind. What are they on about? Chris Eubank Sr. took more sense that morning than most people in boxing, didn't he? Can you not agree with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, based on that day with Chris, I wouldn't say that I felt that there was... Listen, obviously, I'm just talking from an outside perspective without kind of any expert opinion. Obviously, people like query Chris's mental health, etc. But
I don't.
No, I'm not suggesting you do, Gareth. I'm just saying that people have, and that's why that's something I spoke to him about. And yeah, I mean, based on that one day, you know, I didn't think that there was anything different to when I've spoken to Chris Eubank Senior over the last 10 years.
No, he was talking absolute sense. And like I said, Junior would have to cut an awful lot of weight. Then Eddie Hearn responded to that, didn't he? Because Chris Eubank Senior had a morning with us, then he went to Talk Sport. Then Eddie Hearn responded by saying, you know, what's Senior on about? There's a massive opportunity for his son to have a payday 3 times whatever he'd get anywhere else. So the Conor Benn story rumbles on, and I think for me it looks like Benn and Eubank is dead in the water for now. And obviously Eubank Senior wants it to be Harlem Eubank, doesn't he? But they don't seem to be buying that. The Benn camp, the Hearn, DAZN axis don't seem to be buying that fight at all.
No, that doesn't seem very realistic, to be honest with you.
I've got to run in 8 minutes, bro. I've got to run in 8 minutes, Kugan, okay?
Okay. Right, Gareth, it's been just over a week since, the heavyweight division was kind of thrown into a little bit of turmoil. So, yeah, just picking the bones out of kind of the aftermath of that over the last few days. Obviously, the announcement of the fight date was done, as we spoke, very quickly last Saturday for May the 18th with FURY-USYK. I know you've watched an interview I've done with Spencer Brown, Tyson's manager, over the last 2 or 3 days. And, yeah, some interesting reveals in that, notably the Jay Opetaia situation that he probably wouldn't.
Well, I already knew about it.
Yeah.
Already knew about it, yeah. Yeah.
But
the injury, you mean? Oh, the injury.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the injury. Yes, absolutely. He wouldn't have been. So that's kind of good for him. But I was thinking about the Shane. Did you do that Shane interview with Shane Fury as well?
That wasn't me.
Oh, because Shane was hinting about the rumors about Jay Opetaia and Tyson in sparring. And I know something about that directly from someone in the camp, not the mole, but it's directly from whatever it is, but someone from the camp in which, and I've put it out there several times, Tyson Fury was on fire in sparring and he looked amazing in sparring. And no one was giving him life or death. He looked absolutely fantastic. And I was hearing that over and over again for a couple of 3 weeks. You know, I thought Spencer's interview with you was very, very good. Obviously, I speak to Spencer regularly. He's very savvy on all these things and very honest, and he's doing a fantastic job there. And they did a brilliant job getting all that detail over the line, getting Frank Warren and George Warren and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh and the USYK team all together around a table to get the moves done to sign up Fury to fight on May the 18th, just over 3 months. Stitch Duran's given his opinion about the cut. He said, you know, it's not near the blood vessels. That's really good. You can see that from the cut. Not a difficult cut to control. That was very interesting. Ross Amber said the same as well. There'll be lots of vitamin E applied to it, and it will heal up in 3 or 4 weeks. I don't think Fury's a slow healer anyway. I think they're really pushing the boat out to get him out there again by May the 18th. But I think there's an appetite and a desire. I thought the way Spencer described what happened was fascinating. And you can tell they were completely and utterly on it. And all those conspiracy theorists, all the people that could come out and slam Tyson Fury, the Eddie Hearns of this world, the David Hayes of this world, by the way, who I remember covering that story in detail. You were probably just starting in the game then when David Hayes' eye got cut. Were you just starting at that point?
No, I was 3 years in.
All right, sorry, you were. Sorry, I don't mean to insult you. I thought it was 10 years. It's 13. No, it was a really big story at the time. And David, I thought, was very generous. David was very generous in his comments this time in saying, "I know how Tyson Fury feels." That fight obviously never happened in the end between Hay and Fury. It was a fight we all really wanted to see. And let's not forget, we weren't that far away from Hay versus Anthony Joshua at one point as well. But David Hay's body was gone at that point after the 2 fights of Bellew. So I think all the people that are in the know, are inside boxing, I thought did a tremendous thing in the way they all came out and did interviews, because it just made, you know, there's lots of conspiracy theories that fly around Tyson Fury. He's a very unusual character. It just made them all spurious, and it made them all preposterous, and it made them all ridiculous. And, you know, there's absolutely no way on earth that Tyson Fury, at this stage in his life and his career, is trying to get out of fight with Alexander Usyk. It was terrible bad luck. I'm glad, as Spencer explained to you, that Tyson Fury just had a little bit of depression, was down for a little bit, and was able to handle it, because it would have been a shock. And I loved the way he described all that stuff, that it was very visceral what he was describing, very raw, that they were literally in so much shock. They didn't know who to ring for a moment. They couldn't get hold of anyone, you know, because you need to be able to deal with it. And as I say, I've said it to you before, and I'll say it again, I'll always say it, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh and the team dealt with it brilliantly and got it dealt with in 26 hours. And we don't often see that in boxing, that there's a resolution so quickly, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Gareth, just going back to, you mentioned Eddie Hearn there. Eddie Hearn has been one of the people has been very vocal since this situation arose last Friday, a week Friday ago, that this is a ridiculous suggestion that Tyson Fury has cut himself. I just want to point that out, because obviously David Hay had his reasons for making his comments due to Fury's comments from 10 odd years ago. But
yeah, but David Hay was very generous in the way he did it.
Yeah,
he wasn't at all.
David Hay had, for whatever, like, he made reference points to comments that Fury had made.
Yeah, but he wasn't coming back on them. He was saying, "I feel sorry for the guy, and I hope he comes back very soon." And look, Eddie Hearn is in with the team now in the group. He's got Anthony Joshua, you know, floating around that. And my instinct is, you know, Fury's 5-point plan that he talked about a few days ago, he's back on social media, you know, 2 Usyk fights, 2 Joshua fights, and a rematch with Francis Ngannou. I suspect that, talking about this with Spencer Oliver, and I kind of agree with him, that it wouldn't surprise me to see Fury fight Joshua in between 2 Usyk fights, you know, because the belts won't matter after undisputed as much. It'll just be the big matchups. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Fury fight Usyk, then Joshua, then Usyk, then Ngannou, if he fights that many times. But I reckon if he fights Fury and if he beats Usyk and he beats Joshua, that might be it. You know, that's my view anyway. I could be completely wrong, but
you think that's a possibility of Usyk and then Joshua and then possibly
Usyk again and Ngannou. I think 4 more fights is a lot of fights for Tyson Fury at the level he's got. But if he wants to go on and he wants to earn $225 billion or £250 million, then yeah, if he wants to. But there's going to he's been through a lot in his career, and I'm not disbelieving him, but I think he might want to. But 5 more fights is a lot of fights. You know, that's 2.5 more years. It's a lot. And I remember after the 3rd Wilder fight, asking him, "Is that it now?" and getting pilloried for it. Why are you asking him to retire after his 3rd Wilder fight? And he said, "You weren't wrong to call me and ask me about was it going to be my last fight, because if you recall, he told Paris that was going to be it. He told his wife Paris that would be it now. But look at the world of opportunity he's got. So we don't know, but it's interesting it's an interesting talking point."
Absolutely. Gareth, what do you know from what's going on in the camp then? Why are you being a bit quiet? Can't you reveal something?
What do you mean? I don't know. What
happening in the Fury camp? Like you said, you've been speaking to someone out there, and
well, it's mainly those guys close to him, Spencer and so on, because they were on the ground with him in Riyadh. I'm not trying to. There's nothing secret. What I meant was that I was hearing the whole time when people were rumor mongering about, oh, he was struggling in sparring and this, and I don't know where all that was coming from, because that's not what I was hearing. I was hearing the opposite, that he was on fire, you know. Okay. And he looked in great shape when he came out of that camp.
I thought you might have had conversations with the mole. That's all.
Who?
I don't know who the mole is.
I don't see there being a mole. I don't see there being a mole in their group. They're a very tight group. I can't understand who would be talking to people outside the camp in terms of. I mean, you're in strict reference to Johnny Nelson stuff, aren't you? That's what you're talking about.
Oh, Johnny Nelson's made comments in reference to this over the last week or so, yes, but not specifically that. I'm just. Yeah, but we know Johnny's made comments.
Not a clue. And you know what? I'm not even interested in whatever the situation is with. I don't see there being a mole in the camp. They're a very tight-knit group. I think it's a game that's being played about. Who's told you there's moles in the camp? Was it Spencer?
Yeah, well, Spencer was. Well, Spencer used the word grass. Spencer used the word grass, which is obviously a term that people.
Not a clue about it. Anyway, not a clue about what they're referring to, because the info that was coming out wasn't correct about him anyway. So that he was struggling in sparring, if that's what you're referring to, because that's not what I was hearing.
Okay, well, listen, Gareth, I know you've got to go on.
What's an odd end to the interview?
No, it's not an odd end at all. It's been a talking point all week. Is that Pamela Anderson on your top? Is it Pamela Anderson?
No, but is that Pamela Anderson on your bottom?
No, that's not.
Oh, who is it?
I don't know. Audrey Hepburn on mine.
Oh, is it? Okay. No, I think it's Heidi Klum.
Oh, Heidi Klum. Okay. No,
we're sporting. What's that?
Don't let Seal see that. Gareth, if you could sum up the last 7 days in heavyweight boxing in 5 words, how would you do that?
They sorted it out quickly.
Okay, we'll take it. Gareth A.Davies, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure there'll be some more twists and turns in the world of boxing this week. This was meant to be the start of
I know. We'd be in Riyadh right now. We'd be in Riyadh. That's a very good
We
point.
would be in Riyadh right now.
Right now, we'd be landing in Riyadh. Quite right. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely right. We'd have been there about 3 hours already. Yeah, it's so true.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right, buddy. Lovely to speak to you as always.
Gareth, we'll catch up soon. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.